What's up guys, it's me JToH, back at it again with the second part of the JToH fan game tutorial series thing. As you can see, I'm now back to my normal self, my normal avatar. And I'm also in my own fan game this time, because I decided to just be in this creepy ass place, because why not? Go find it. This is a part 2 of the JToH fan game tutorial series, basically where I show how to work with the fan game kit and stuff. Today we'll be going over how to get colored win messages and webhooks for your server, and also some quality of life fixes for like scripts and stuff. So yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be showing you, and yeah, let's just get into it. Alright, so once you open up Studio, it should look something like this. You should be on your My Games page, and you should be able to find your game here. Like, look, fan game kit tutorials, that is the thing that, yes. Okay, so we are back in the place. It's just as we left it previously. So yeah, let's get to fixing this stuff. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get a new version of the pad script. Someone from the community very generously donated a or like submitted, or basically just gave us a upgraded version of the pads script right here. That's the script. It basically adds webhooks and colored win messages and an anti-cheat with a checkpoint system that JToH has. So yeah, let's get that in. I'll leave a download to it in the description. It should yeah, there should be a link to it, but basically the way you get it is you download it, and once you've downloaded it, you gotta locate it on your PC, and then you have to drag it into your studio. So it should be called Pads Ultimate v2.2 or VXM. Then you should drag it into Studio, and there you go. Alright, so once it's in Studio, you're going to put it into Server Script Service and delete the old pads. There we go. Now, inside of the pads thing, what you're going to want to focus on is the script replacements for now, because these are important. So you got to put this in replicated storage. That's for the checkpoint system. And then the CO loader, the new CO loader, like, because we already had a CO loader, so just replace the old one with this new one. And then you can delete the script replacement folder because it's basically empty. Alright, and all these folders right here, they're for setup, except for all the archive image. You can basically set these up however you'd like. So yeah. And there's also a guide if you want to like read further into this. So yeah, I'll just mention one thing. Don't keep this WinPad in the pad script. This WinPad, basically, the reason why they put this here is because it has attributes right here. You can see CPA's required difficulty is a C, minimal time, nice level, and win room. I'll explain what all of these mean. But first, you need to replace the current WinPads with this new one. So the way to do that is you can just Control C. And then select the WinPad that you have, Control Shift V, so it pastes the new WinPad inside of the current WinPad that you're replacing. And then you can just copy its position into the new one, and also the orientation. And then paste that. And also the size, of course. Size, you just paste it in there, and there you go. And then you can just parent it to obby, and then delete the old one. Okay, there we go. Now we have the new WinPad. And also one thing to note, please set the WinPad's kit folder value to the towers folder. This is important because the new pad script works with that. Yeah. So just make sure the kit folder value right here is set to the towers folder. So this WinPad is in T1, so this value should be T1. Alright, so, and then, yeah, just do this with the other WinPad as well. If it doesn't, like, they could still work without the attributes, but I recommend replacing it anyways, because, I mean, yeah, that's kind of obvious why. Yeah, so just, yeah, I'm not going to do the copy and paste stuff, because it's the same size, I can just move it over. And, NVT, obby, WinPads are supposed to be in the obby folder, by the way, don't move them around. As a little kit folder, NVT, there we go. Alright. So now the new WinPads are set up. I'm going to explain all the attributes they have. Okay, so CP is required. CP stands for checkpoints, not the others. This basically means exactly how much checkpoints you need to hit while you're doing the tower. And checkpoints are like part of an anti-cheat system, by the way. I'll get into those later. All right, next is difficulty. Basically, the difficulty value here, like whatever you type in there, it needs to match the difficulty emojis and difficulty colors. Like, difficulty emojis and difficulty colors need to match the names, by the way. And basically, inside of the WinPad, in the difficulty value, it needs to match with one of the difficulties that are listed here. So if I had a medium tower, I would put in medium exactly like it is here. Okay? Oh, and also you can change the colors and the names. Just make sure that they have a difficulty colors value and a difficulty emojis value. Those are the two things that matter for difficulties. All right. Now back to the attributes. Is SC stands for is soul crushing? But I think people would already know that. This basically dictates if the tower is soul crushing. So if you wanted it to be a soul crushing win in the webhooks, then you would check this. And if you wanted it to have a global message, then you would check this as well. Okay, minimal time is in seconds. This is the minimal time of which the tower can be beaten. The nice level is just for webhooks. It's used after the time display. Yeah, you know how in JToH, if someone beats a tower rush, it has amount of towers in a row. Like, that's basically that part. Like, the nice level is that part. You can set this to whatever. And the win room needs to match a part name. So in markers, you see here, there is a win room spawn. So you copy the name, or you can just type it in manually, and you paste it in the win room of the tower, and that's the win room it's going to send it to. So if you had a win room that's named SC win room, then you would put in the WinPad attributes SC win room, and it would TP you to that win room spawn location. So yeah, those are all the attributes. Yeah. If your tower breaks, like if the WinPad doesn't break, then double check the attributes to see if everything's correct. If everything's okay with the attributes, check console by pressing F9, or you can go to view and go to output to see if there's any errors. All these errors are from like just sound effects from the Roblox audio update, by the way. You will be able to tell which error is from what script because it will say like from what script it is. Alright, so now that we've gone over the WinPad and stuff, let's hit up checkpoints, because those are still not fully set up. Okay, so the way to implement checkpoints is you just create a folder in a workspace and you call it checkpoints. Don't misspell it. There we go, it needs to be like that. Okay, then you can put a part inside of it. And once you're inserting a part into Roblox, by the way, with like that part thing, you need to anchor it and also cast shadow off. But for checkpoints, you need to basically do transparency 1. Yeah, they need to be completely transparent. And also can't collide false. Because you don't want to, like, just have fucking random-ass cubes just collidable in your tower. Okay, so you can just, like, set up its shape and stuff. It can be any color, any material, it doesn't matter. It's going to be transparent, and it's not going to be collidable. Alright, then what you're going to want to do is add a Boolean value into the part and name it check. That's gonna basically it's like a confirmation of, oh, this part is a checkpoint. And also, speaking of the part's name, we weren't speaking of that to begin with, but you're gonna want to name it the tower's acronym. So if you have checkpoints for T1, then name it T1 and then underscore the checkpoint. So the first checkpoint, and then you're gonna move another checkpoint for the same tower, so T1 underscore 2. And for each tower, you're gonna want to name it the tower's acronym and then the thing. So NVT underscore 1 and NVT underscore 2, like that. And just as long as they're in the checkpoints folder and they have the check value, they should work completely fine. Also, you can add more checkpoints than necessary for the CPA's required thing, just in case you want to, like, be sure. You know, it's like it's a safety precaution, I guess. Okay, so those are checkpoints. Remember to make them invisible and stuff, because, yes. Yeah, and, okay, yeah. So, let's go over these now. So, difficulty colors and difficulty emojis we already went through. You can, I'll get into difficulty emojis and setting up the webhooks after I'm done explaining these folders. So kick messages. So basically the way this works is this value right here. I'm gonna just expand so you can see all of it. So yeah, this is pretty simple. You can name these values whatever. I could literally just name this. All that matters is what's inside these right here. So basically, the anti-cheat kick messages are, yeah, there's just the kick messages you see in JToH for whenever someone cheeses a tower or something, or gets kicked. If you have if you want the player's name to appear, it has to be in these brackets right here, and then player in the middle. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. You can also have kick messages without the player parameter. It could just be any fucking message you want. Like, yeah, just if you want the player's name, it has to be in the brackets and player. There we go. Alright, that's kick messages for you. Next we have all the archive, which is just, yeah, don't touch that. Next we have switches, which just basically like enables and disables stuff. So if you want global wins, you can enable that or disable it. If you have include server tag in messages, this basically lets you enable or disable the server tag in the win messages. So you know how win messages are usually server and this person has beaten this tower. You can remove that server tag in the beginning and just let it be person has beaten blah blah blah. And kick webhooks enabled. Kick webhooks is basically whenever someone gets kicked, they send a webhook message to your server to like give you information about the account that did the tower and like tower completion data stuff. Basically used for developers to verify whether or not someone's been cheating or not. You can enable this or disable this, and then you can do embed style, which is basically like Discord's fancy version of a message. If you have this disabled, it's just gonna send it as a regular message, but if you have that enabled, it's gonna send it as an embed. And embeds look fancy. Okay, then kicks enabled, that's pretty self-explanatory. Like if you want players to get kicked for not touching enough checkpoints or beating a tower too fast, you can enable this. And then there's webhooks enabled, which basically, you know, enables or disables webhooks, obviously. Alright, next is webhook links, and this is for the webhook setup. I'll go over this later. WinPad config, let's go over that. So show boosts is meant for the win messages, so if you want the win messages to show that players have used boosts or not. And the win message itself, you can modify this. And remember this player in the square brackets, and then tower name and time. Same as the player in the bracket story, just keep this like this if you want to see the tower name and the time. This is customizable fully. Alright. Then the WinPad cooldown, this is basically like if one person beats a tower and they touch the WinPad, then the next person needs to wait 5 seconds until the WinPad can respond again. It's like a WinPad response time, basically. WinPad flash, this is like the speed at which the WinPad's like material and stuff change. You know, like how WinPads do. And yeah, that's it. Alright, now that we've gotten over that, let's get into webhooks. Alright, so I don't have a specific server for this, so I'll have to basically do this in my notes list, in my notes server. This is just a thing I use to like keep random stuff. Alright, so yeah, let's go. So to create a webhook, you need to go in server settings, and then integrations, and then webhooks. It should be here. If you don't have integrations, then I think there's a way to get it. Just see what you can do. You want to go to the webhooks and then create a webhook, and then you can just name it whatever. And then you can check, you can see the channel for it. It can be any channel, like, yeah. And then, okay, so once you have that, you can also upload an image for it and stuff, whatever. Alright, so once you have this done, you're going to want to copy the webhook URL, and then you are going to paste it into the webhook links right here. Now, these can differ. These can be for different bots. So if you want a specific webhook to do normal win messages like tower wins, you can paste in a specific webhook, and if you want a different webhook to do kicks and soul crushing wins, you can create separate webhooks for those with this. So, but for now I'm just going to keep them all the same. Also, if you have webhooks enabled in the switches, these need to be correct, otherwise this thing's gonna break. If you don't have webhooks ready yet, or you don't want them, just disable the enable webhooks. Anything related to webhooks, just disable if you're not ready for them yet or you don't want them. But if you do want them, you gotta paste in the link for your webhook. Now, one note to mention: Discord and Roblox do not work well with the webhook stuff. It just blocks the Discord thing. So you're gonna want to use a proxy. Where it says discord.com, you're gonna want to replace with like just a random proxy you can find, a Roblox proxy. You can find that easily on Google or wherever. For me, I personally use hooks.hiret.io. Yeah, and that should work. Hi, so I just finished recording the tutorial, and I never really showed how to set up the emojis. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. Well, first I gotta create an emoji because I don't have one. Okay, so once you have your emoji ready, so basically what the pad script wants from you is a certain type of input. I'll show you what I mean. What you want to do is type a backslash and then the emoji name. So in my case, I named it tomorrow, so I type in tomorrow and then you press enter, and it's gonna give you that. Copy this and put it inside the difficulty emoji's value of like whatever difficulty you need. And yeah, that's basically like webhooks. Like you just paste the links and yeah, and that's webhooks for you. Alright, now that we have the new pads, now that we've gone over the new pad system, let's check up on the quality of life updates that we can do. So, pads, this modified pads is a good script, but it's not perfect. Okay, also, I forgot to delete the WinPad part here. You can just remove that. There you go. Modified pads is good, but it's not perfect. There's flaws in the script. So I'll show you how to fix those. You can already see one here, characters prim import C-frame. Because now that Roblox has moved to pivots, you can just replace this. You can, as it says here. Remember, model.setPrim.C-frame is deprecated. Use pivot 2 instead. So you can change this to pivot 2. It's not gonna change anything. It's basically the same. Alright, so let's go over the fixes, which have been provided by people in the JToH fan game creation community server. I did not make these fixes. These are the works of people in the server. I will name drop them just so you can like thank them or something. Alright, so the first person I want to credit is Zilks. Zilks is the person who is responsible for fixing the soul crushing like global win messages only being cyan, because that was a problem, because that is a problem with the pad script. They appear cyan only. So he provided a script for that. He also provided a fix for tower rushes, because those were broken as well. And also the teleporter portals, as I mentioned in the first part, those are also broken. Alright, and the next person is Dar. Dar is the person who is responsible for a anti-fling kit for JToH fan games. I'll leave a link to that in the description. And lastly, I want to thank Tixab. Tixab helped me fix a issue with the timer, because in the pad script, the way the timer is handled is kind of poor. Because if the digits for minutes surpass 99 and like goes to 100, basically the anti-cheat breaks down. Like there's an error in the console and the WinPads do not work. I will show you how to fix this first, because this is basically like either make or break your game. To fix the timer thing, you're going to want to locate line 339. These two lines right here are what's responsible for basically breaking it all. What you're going to want to do is below the tower act thing, you're going to want to create a new value, local tcomps, and it's going to equal to time split, and then in quotations you're going to put that symbol right there. Now in the time s, you're going to want to do to number tcomps, and then in square brackets 1, and then in time m you're going to want to erase that and to number, and then tcomps, and in square brackets 2, and then colon split, and then the dot, and then in square brackets after that put 1, and then just switch to time s and time m. So put time m and time s. Okay, so that is how to fix the timer issue. Now your timer is gonna go past 100 minutes and your WinPads are gonna work fine. Alright, so Next, we have the quality of life updates, which, well, not updates, but fixes. So, yeah, let's get into those. Alright, so first we have the soul crushing win message problem, like global message. So here, I'll link like text tutorials for the stuff in case you don't understand it with this video, or if you just like want more detail on it or something. Okay, but basically, you're gonna want to find the function global win. So just do Control F. Just do Control F. And then global win. Now, in the parameter where it says message, change that to MSG. And then add a new parameter called difficulty color. Exactly like that. Do not capitalize the D. Leave it like that. And then inside the function itself, you're gonna want to add a new line. I will have the copy and paste the thing ready. So this is the new line. After that, inside the messaging publish async, you're gonna want to remove the message part and replace it with this. I will have it pasted in the thing. And also put this local thing above that, because yeah, otherwise it's not gonna recognize the RGB things. After that, you're gonna want to find a function called subscribe async, and then put a new line that is this. And then another new line below the local hex, and then you're gonna want to paste this in like that. And then inside of the game announcement parameter, you're gonna want to change message.data right here to message.data, and then add another dot message. It says right here color 3 dot from RGB. Replace that with color 3 dot new, and then just type in RGB like that. Okay, now the last part of this, we're gonna want to find another global win, but instead of this one, you're gonna want to click the arrows, and here we are right here. Global wins enabled. This is the part we need. And inside of the parameter global win right here, add a new parameter called color. Color. And yeah, now you have colored global win messages. The last thing I'm gonna do is the tower rushes, because this video is already way too long as it is. Alright, so you're gonna want to find the tower rush function, which should be, it's this right here. Below this nice level thing, you're gonna want to add a line that says workspace.markers.spawn location, and then put a comma after the nice, by the way, of the, yeah, because that's how tables work. And then another comma, and then put a false. That is it for tower rushes. And just dot spawn location part. Yeah, it's the same with the, it's the exact same as the win room thing in like the win pads we discussed earlier. So once you close out of that, it's gonna apply edits from pads. You can do Alt P to publish it, and you can Control save. So let's playtest. Let's check console just in case. No errors. No errors so far, at least. Alright, let's go inside this tower. Alright, let's fly up to the win pad and see what happens. If the win pad's not going to work, there's obviously an error, which is okay. We're going to fix it if there is. And there we go. He's beaten Tower 1 in blah blah blah, boost user vertical mobility. As you can see, the timer doesn't stop right here. HTTP requests are not enabled. Enable via game settings. So, yeah, I forgot to mention this in the last part, but you need HTTP requests to be enabled. So you go into game settings, then security, and allow HTTP requests. I recommend enabling these two, because if you're gonna make a menu, you're gonna need to do data stores and stuff, so it saves the settings after you leave. So then just click save, and let's play test again, just one final time to make sure we got it. Boop. And there we go. Now the timer stopped, and the win message is like that. Now, if you remember, I set it to medium earlier, but it shows up as green here. That's because for some reason in the pads config, the difficulty colors are shifted by 1. So you're gonna, like, difficulty colors right here. You could see easy is just black, medium is easy, hard is medium. Like you're just gonna want to recolor all those appropriately, or you can use your own colors if you want. All right, so yeah, that concludes part 2. In part 3, I'm gonna show you how to fix like the teleporter portals And also, I'm going to show you how to do leader stats, because Zilx also provided a tutorial for leader stats. And also, part 3 is also going to be on how to make a rank select, because I never mentioned how to make one of those. So yeah, that concludes part 2 for now. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, I'll link the server where me and others are active in the description, and also all the other stuff that I said before is going to be linked as well. So I'll see you guys in the next part. Goodbye.